For many Christian faithful, the best clothes are worn during the festive season, as it is the convention of many families. But this year, it may be a bleak Christmas for some, as the price of clothes and fabrics have become very expensive. Nioluwa Popola went to some popular markets in Lagos to find out how the price of clothes have affected preparation for the Christmas celebration.
When you want to buy the best Christmas clothes, fabrics and party wears at affordable prices, Balogun Market has always been the one-stop shop for many Lagos residents. The place is one of Nigeria's largest markets, located at the heart of Lagos Island.
Despite its rowdiness and busy nature, thousands of people come in here every day, either to shop for themselves or buy in wholesale. Now, with few days left to Christmas, the excitement of what to buy and what to wear is in the air. But it seems this year has taken a different turn, as the prices of clothes have increased, making it difficult for traders to sell and Lagos residents to buy.
While many traders shy away from speaking, few of them share their challenges with volumes of sales.
Before I used to buy 1G before, highest 2.5, I said 3,000. But now 1G now buy 3.8, 3.5. And the customer they see pricing 3,000, 3.5. If you put like 1 million naira to bring market for you, you will use like 1.5 to clear it. So how much is your gain inside?
These tops is 1,000 before, but now I'm not selling 1.5. And the civil servants who are supposed to buy it 1,000, maybe they cannot afford to buy it 1.5 because their salary is not being increasing.
The Aloja of Lagos Island explains the factors responsible for the increase in the price of clothing.
All these clothes you are talking about, everything is imported. They will travel, they will change naira to dollars. So you can't buy something now. You bought it at maybe 20,000. Plus your transport, everything, you come and sell 20,000. You have to have something.
With the increase in demand for clothes and other goods, the inflation rate has also risen for the 10th consecutive month, making the price of clothes out of reach for the average Nigerian.
I came with about almost 30,000. I could not buy. See my bag. You still have, and the money is extra expensive. They don't even want to even reduce the price at all. It's extra expensive.
With many people pushing to get their wares from the local markets, some others prefer to go to boutiques, but the owners say the customers are not forthcoming.
As you can see, everywhere is very dry. There's no customer. Since morning, we have been sitting down doing nothing. People are complaining, things is so high, there's no money, this, that. Instead of them to buy, they will use the money to eat.
As the sun goes down, many people are still here hoping to get their Christmas wares from either the boutiques or the local markets. And for the traders, they are hoping to get at least enough money to enjoy this festive season. Nioluwa Popola, TVC News, Lagos.
Right, joining us in the studio is a financial analyst, BC Iyaniwura. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. Compliments of the season and best wishes for a beautiful 2023. Good
Absolutely.
to see you.
Same to you. Yeah. Now, one key thing I picked from that report from respondents is the fact that our import-driven economy is a major reason why we are seeing what we are seeing happening. Because if you look at the papers this morning, it says the cost of Christmas has soared to about 28%. Yeah. Talk to us.
Yes, definitely. We cannot divorce what is happening in Nigeria from the exchange rate mechanism of the naira vis-a-vis other currency. We know that the naira is at its lowest now. And what is the cost? Inefficiency of our economy. Nigeria is not a producing economy. Virtually 98% of what we use in Nigeria is imported. Name it: fuel, food, transportation, clothing, everything is imported. So what we actually have is what we call imported inflation, because it is not inflation that is generated in Nigeria. It is a result of the exchange rate. And the bad side of that is like we are exporting labor. The jobs that Nigerians should be laying their hands on is being exported. We are creating wealth for other people's economy. So that is the thing. So until we start talking about the exchange rate, you see, inflation is a killer of investment. Just like the man said, you take 1 million naira to the market today, you bought something worth 1 million, you sell it for 1.2 million, thinking that you have made a 200,000 profit. But by the time you are getting to the market next week, you have to look for extra money for the same thing to buy at 1.5. So absolutely, you've not made a profit. You have actually made a loss because you have to look for 300,000 to match your 1.2 million naira to get new stocks. Those are the effects of inflation. It kills the value of the currency. And we need to actually work on it. I've been saying it that until we start having an efficient economy, we're still wasting our time. And what is an efficient economy? We have to look at power. It's absolutely necessary. I operate in the agri sector. I'm sorry to say with respect, food is expensive this year, but the prognosis for next year is not smiling at all. It's likely to be worse, the price of food.
Why?
That's the truth of it. What we are eating this year were the things we planted last year. What we're going to eat next year is what we are planting this year. Last year, we did an acre of farmland for 6,000 tractor. This year, we paid between 12 and 15,000 for the same thing. Herbicides that we bought for 1,500 naira last year per liter, we are buying for 4,000 this year. So you want to, labor is an issue. The people we use, people from Cotonou, because Nigerians youth are not ready to work on the farm. So we go to Cotonou and Togo to bring in workers. These workers have refused to come, saying that our currency is not as strong as it used to be. The CFA is now stronger than the naira. Before, when you have a naira, you get 350 CFA. But now, when you have one CFA, they give you 80 kobo. So that shows you how absolutely bad the exchange rate is. Now let's go back to clothing. Clothing is not an essential, except you want to deceive yourself. You can always wash and wear what you have.
Right.
In my own family, my children, they've been brought up not to ask for clothing during any festive period. I buy them clothing, anything off festive period. And I will tell you why. Festive period is always an opportunity to extort because demand is always very high. Our people should start thinking ahead. For my farm, I don't buy things during the season. I start buying what I will need on the farm from January, when there's less pressure for demand. And the sellers also need money to restock. So I buy. So we should also think about that. Now, headline inflation for food is so high. Your child would rather have chicken in their pot than have a new clothes. They would rather have chicken than have a new clothes. Don't forget also that Christmas is gone, New Year is gone. The week or 2 weeks after, school fees are coming. So clothing is the least of the basic essentials that human needs encompasses. January, February, house rents are going to be due because most people move houses in January. So clothing is not as essential as some of those things because you always have a clothes you can wear. You always have a clothes you can wear.
Yeah, but anyway, I like the way I like the way it is seen. Yeah. But you see, growing up, I was just as you were talking, I was just casting my mind back to when we're growing up.
You must wear Christmas clothes.
And if you don't wear Christmas clothes,
you look different.
Exactly, you look out of place. It's like fish out of water.
But you see, the society is a dynamic one. We have to start teaching our children some basic things about life. My children have account. I have a son who is 9-year-old, and he wants to buy. He said, "Daddy, go and take money from my account." I have to sit him down and say, "The fact that you have money in your account doesn't mean it has to be spent." You have to learn the act of value for money, investments. Occasionally, I'll call my children and I'll say, "Look, I'm going to take so amount from your savings to invest on the farm. The return from that goes back into your account." That is how to train children. That is how I'm bringing up my children. You see, like I said, you buy them clothing. Let them appreciate that there are other opportunity costs for that clothes you are buying them. Do you want to go to school? If I buy you these clothes, I may not be able to pay your school fees. They have to. From the age of 5, 6, let your children appreciate value. You don't have to be 10, 12, because by that time it might even be too late for them to appreciate. because the society will have started influencing them. The ladies are talking about bone wig and all these things, which some of us, no, serious, sincerely. Listen,
Bone straight.
I don't know. You know, the cost of shoes, you see, people get influenced by their environment, which should not be.
Yeah.
It should be your pocket that should influence your decision. That is why, quote and unquote, you see ritualists, all these young guys doing Yahoo, all these ladies doing quote and unquote, they call it Olosho runs and things like that, because they want to live what the society expects of them, not what they can afford. Those are the things, and it's because of the home training they've had from the youth. We need to get things right. We need to get things right. Education is not only within the four corners of the world, of the classroom. It starts from the house, on the street. I could remember when I grew up, my mother, I will tell you this, my father was very rich, very comfortable. My mother used to buy me Christmas clothes. But I, as a person, I don't like lace. I have an auntie who is one of the biggest lace dealers. When she gives me the lace, I'll go and give somebody. So it is also part of it. We need to let them know these are the priority, the pyramids of needs for every human being. The number one is, I tell people, food is number one.
Yes.
Because a madman may have no house to stay in, but a madman must eat. So when your children have eaten, then you start narrowing it down. Okay, you've eaten. You are going to school. I have to buy your school shoes, buy school uniform. So Christmas is just once in a year. If I buy you the Christmas clothes, can you wear it to school? If I buy you Christmas shoes, can you wear it to school? So you engage them. Children are not as daft as they used to be. That's the truth, because they now have access to information. My son is 9 years old. My son discussed the war in Ukraine and Russia with me. That's the absolute truth, because he has access to it. My son will tell you, Daddy, I want to build a website where I can sell things at 9. Because they have the advantage, we don't have information technology. So we need to engage them, tell them this is why I can't do this for you. Not that you don't deserve it, but because there are other things that are like me investing in your future. If I buy you a clothes now and I don't buy you a school shoe, if you go to school, you will look like an outcast. If I can't pay your school fees and they tell you come and sit down at home, you will have a psychological effect that why is my daddy not doing this? It's unfortunate that those who are in that sector of the economy selling clothes, it's not as if I don't like them, but reality must be made. Clothes are not basic necessity for human being, particularly during Christmas.
Right. I'd like for us to really address this matter from the root, because you talked about the fact that this is an imported inflation, so to speak. And how can we begin to address this? Because it occurs every year. So perhaps it is a build-up to whatever it is that culminates at the end of the year.
The economic structure of Nigeria does not encourage productive capacity. That's the absolute truth. That is why, look, this is supposed to be a Nigerian fabric by design, but it was brought in from China.
All right, we need to quickly go on a commercial break. We'll continue this conversation. Please stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. We still have our guest in the studio, financial analyst Bisi Yaniura, talking to us about the matters of inflation. And before we went on the break, I was asking about addressing the matter from the root, because you said this is a matter of imported inflation and you were trying to address that. Please continue.
Yes, the thing is, until we start efficient economic manufacturing, underline efficient, we have not gone anywhere. What I mean by efficient is that we must be able to produce things that are competitive. Because there is no person who is reasonable that will see something that is cheap at a competitive quality and go for something that is higher. Manufacturing in Nigeria is not competitive because the cost of production is higher. And what are the basic reasons? Power, diesel. The Manufacturing Association of Nigeria recently said that close to 40% of the cost of manufacturing in Nigeria goes to diesel, power. Now imagine you want to compete with somebody. See what happened in the UK recently. The government is giving complaints, bailout voucher because of the high cost of energy. Have we seen anything like that in Nigeria? So how do we compete with them? You see, these are the people that are telling our government don't subsidize. But what have they done? They are giving subsidy to their own industries because they know the importance of employment. America has doled out trillions of dollars to companies to relocate to America to come and produce in America. Because why? They know that when there is a job in America, you see, the multiplier effect is like it generates a subsidy to the country. The more people that are employed, the more tax the government gets, the more money the government can pump back. But when we are exporting our job, more people are in the unemployment market, the government gets less tax. And don't forget, this is a country that we don't have a social network. When you're out of employment, you're on your own. Unlike what you have in the UK, in Europe, that they give you unemployment benefit, we are on our own here. So until we address those fundamental issues of, one, cost of money, interest rate in Nigeria is about the highest in the world. Go and find out. And that is why you see a Chinese man or an Indian man that comes into Nigeria and do very well. Because he's getting his fund at about 2%, 3% from China, from the US. He brings it to Nigeria, he becomes a billionaire. All you need is just $1 million from China at 2% or from Japan at 1.5%. You bring it to Nigeria, you get 700 million naira. Tell me, how can somebody who is getting facility at 36% compete with you? How are you not going to be more prosperous? So when people say Chinese come to Nigeria, Japanese come to Nigeria, and they do better, I just laugh. It's because we don't understand the fundamentals of manufacturing. We cannot compete with them. I was consulting for a Japanese man who wanted to come and set up. I'm not consulting. Actually, I was trying to tell him that, look, Nigeria is a big market and things like that. And he told me, he said, BC, I will have want to come, but I don't want to come to a country that the first manufacturing equipment I have to buy is a generator. It sunk into me. And you see, the cost of the generator is not in purchasing the generator, but the current expenditure of running it. Diesel is 800 naira per liter now, from 200 at the beginning of the year. It has killed so many industries. Because at the time they were doing their budget at the beginning of the year, they made their projection on 200. Now 800. Where are they going to cover the cost? Sudden. In their projection, it was not there. So a lot of companies are dead. And it affects unemployment. It has brought a lower money into people's pocket. Purchasing power has gone down. So that is the thing. So we have to address those issues that makes an economy efficient. Power, interest rate, cost of labor. I said it. Last year, we did an acre of farm tractor for 6,000. This year, we're doing for 12 to 15,000. And if I tell you, Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava in the world, but we can't export because our cost of production is higher than that of Thailand and some other countries. We are the largest producer of yam in the world. We were only able to export 200 metric tons last year. Why? Cost of production is high. You can only sell what you buy. That's the absolute truth of it. You can only sell what you buy. So we need a government that will sit down. That's the truth of it. You see, all these somebody slap somebody politics we are doing, we're still deceiving ourselves. I will tell you absolutely, all the 4 or 5 major presidential candidates or parties, I don't have faith in them. Because the structure upon which any of them can build does not exist in Nigeria. Governance is about structure. Look at what happened in the US. Donald Trump was there. The structure checked him. Do you think what happened to Donald Trump will happen in Nigeria and the president will not go scot-free? Some people attacked the National Assembly. Has anybody been attacked in Nigeria? Has anybody been taken to court or convicted? So we need a structure that will put the country in autopilot. The central bank governor is not somebody that should be able to single-handedly. I was reading in the paper yesterday that they said the governor of the central bank single-handedly gave one individual 2 billion naira facility. Where is that done all in the world? And the board members said they were not aware 2 billion of our money. Single-handedly. So what are we talking about? How can you run an economy that is done on ad hoc basis, where the manufacturer, the businessman cannot make a projection that in the next 1 month, this is what I want to produce, because he doesn't know what the cost of production will be tomorrow. So we need to address this long-term effective infrastructure to make our economy resilient, to make it efficient. Until we do that, we'll still keep coming to all this issue of exchange rate and things like that.
All right. Now, if you watch the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you check the very basic one, the physiological needs, you see food, shelter, and clothing there.
Yes.
And these are very natural with human beings regarding how they want to look, what they want to eat. You know, these are things you engage with on daily basis. And this has become sacrosanct in our society today, where you're going out, you're very conscious of how do I look, especially at Christmas. Now, do you, or don't you see this as a very natural thing during the Christmas era, where you're talking of us adjusting ourselves to face the reality, but it seems it has become part of human behavior and human living, that it has become so challenging?
I want to disagree with you a little.
Okay.
You see, what we call natural is situational, is circumstantial.
Okay.
To some people, they can afford to buy a shoe worth 400,000 naira. It is natural. But to some people, no, that is the truth. I have friends that buy that much. I'm serious. That is natural to them because it's got billions of naira. Okay, I made an analysis with somebody. Sorry, it's off record. When they said somebody stole 80 billion naira, and I said, just assume that this person is spending every day 2 million naira. In a month, he has only spent 60 million naira. In a year, 60 times 12. Is 720 million naira. In 10 years, that's 7.2 billion naira. In 20 years, that's 14.4 billion naira. In 30 years, so even in 40 years, 50 years, he has not been able to spend the 80 billion naira. So for that kind of a person, you ask yourself, why should you steal that much? So that's why I said it is circumstantial. So a man who has that kind of money, if he goes into an auto shop and he buys a vehicle worth 1 billion,
it's normal.
It's normal to him. But to somebody who needs a vehicle to run his business, who's to him, vehicle is a need, not a luxury. If he gets a vehicle for 200,000 that he can use to be ferrying pepper from my 12 to somewhere to earn an income, it is a necessity to him. You understand? So that's why I say it's situational. I am not saying clothes are not important. What I'm saying is that we have to learn the fact that it doesn't have to be during festive period. Why? Because the pressure on finances during that period is very, very high. The needs are very high. So why don't you buy the clothes before that time? And two, I also said that you don't have to buy new clothes. You can dry clean what you have. Look neat. The most important thing is you have to look neat and good. God does not look at your clothes. God looks at your intention. If it is because of going to church. No, that's the truth of it. It is because of going to church or going to visit your friends. You have to learn. I tell people, don't get swayed by what the society is saying. I tell my children that I wanted to go and buy a sneaker for my son 2 weeks ago, and he was telling me, oh, Daddy, I want one of those popular brand, Nike, and I said, for that reason, I'm not buying this for you again. You have to learn that brand is just a name. Utility is different from brand. What I need is different from what I want. Now, it is what you need. You have to learn to do that. No matter how rich your parents are, once you start indulging children in what they want and not what they need, you are creating a big problem for yourself in the future. Because there will be a time you will not be there for them, and they will run into problem because they can't take the necessary basic decision. So I'm not saying clothes is not a necessity. What I'm saying is the approach to it, it's very, very necessary and fundamental.
Right. You mentioned earlier that you do not have confidence in, when you looked at the four major presidential candidates, their promises, their manifestos and all, you're saying that you don't see that they'll be able to do anything.
Absolutely.
So is that trying to paint a grim picture of we not being able to address this matter at any point?
My sister.
Are you saying there is no way out?
Listen, I used to be a very optimistic person about Nigeria. I've had every opportunity of relocating from Nigeria, but I keep thinking Nigeria is it. And God has been very merciful to us. He's blessed us with everything except that top level. Now, why I said I don't, you see, the structure is necessary. The Nigerian we currently run is like a landlord who has a house and the tenant moves out and there are cracks in the house. And you just tell the painter, instead of calling the bricklayer to come and do the necessary, tell the breaker, use poly filler and paint it off so that the next landlord tenant will not know that it is cracked. It will still come back. You understand? The structure to drive Nigeria presently, the physical FISCA, does not exist.
But we need to do something.
Yes, that is why I said I don't have, you see, the ability to do something is what we are not addressing. We need to sit down and talk. We need to sit down and say, look, 3 people or 3 families are staying in a flat. All of them keep fighting every day, boxing. So you see, until we sit down and say, let's have a code of conduct of how we use the bathrooms, how we use the kitchen, the fight will continue.
Right.
Infinitum. That's the truth of it. No matter who is at the head, until we do the needful.
Who will initiate the conversation? Final take on this.
The conversation has to be initiated by Nigerians. I believe in Nigeria. I believe in a single Nigeria.
Right.
But how we live together is a very necessary thing.
All right. We need to leave the conversation here now. Financial analyst, BC Yaniwora, thank you for your time on the program.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.